revolution was complete. By the early 1990s, the
Stand by,
Aegis
we're casting
combat
off now.
system, married to the Mark 41 vertical launch system,
Copy
had been
that.
proven in the crucible of war. Ships like the USS Bunker Hill and USS Mobile Bay had demonstrated its overwhelming lethality and defensive power. The doctrine was written, the technology validated. A new problem emerged, one far less glorious than combat, yet infinitely more demanding. The problem of presence. It is the challenge not of winning a war, but of preventing one through the grinding, relentless pressure of constant forward-deployed vigilance. How does a nation project credible power, not in a single decisive battle, but over the exhausting passage of decades, thousands of miles from its own shores? How do you maintain the most advanced shield in the world, not in the safety of home waters, but permanently stationed at the volatile friction points of global geopolitics? This is the strategic dilemma of the modern age. A fleet in port is a fleet wasted. A fleet that can only surge in a crisis often arrives too late. The requirement was for a persistent on-station force, a fleet that lived on the front lines. This demanded a new level of endurance, not just from the machines, but from the men and women who operated them. The question was no longer just, how powerful is the weapon, but how long can the weapon stay in the fight?
I named this ship
This is the
Antietam.
immense burden of the
May
forward
God
deployed.
bless this ship
It is a
and
war
all who
fought
sail
not with
in her.
missiles, but with maintenance schedules. It's a battle against the logarithmic curve of fuel consumption, against the ever-present, insidious corrosion of salt water that eats at steel and electronics alike. It is a conflict waged against the mental and physical exhaustion of a crew that is always on alert, always on watch. For these ships, there is no true downtime, no return to a familiar harbor for a long, predictable refit cycle. They are the tip of the spear, the first line of defense, the tripwire. They live where the crises happen. The pressure is unimaginable. Every day presents the risk of a catastrophic accident in the world's busiest and most contested waterways. A single system failure, a single navigational error, a momentary lapse. A focus under this immense accumulated strain does not simply mean a failed mission. It can trigger an international incident. It can mean the breaking of the shield at the precise moment it is needed most, with no immediate replacement available. The fleet needed more than just powerful ships. It needed ships that were almost unbreakable, operated by crews with a spirit to match. To bear this burden, a special kind of warship is required. Not just a weapon, but a bastion of endurance, a symbol of unwavering resolve. Commissioned on June 6, 1987, the USS Antietam, CG-54, was forged for this very purpose. Named for a battle that was not a clean victory, but a brutal attritional struggle that changed the course of the Civil War. The ship seemed destined for a career defined by tenacity. While her sister ships were making headlines in the Persian Gulf during Desert Storm, Antietam was honing her skills, preparing for a different, longer kind of war, the war of presence. After proving her mettle in support of Operation Southern, watching Iraq and participating in complex counter-narcotics operations in the Eastern Pacific, their true calling was realized. In 2013, as part of the United States' strategic rebalancing to the Indo-Pacific, the USS Antietam steamed to Yokosuka, Japan. She was not making a temporary port call.
Follow the blue
She was
wire.
changing her home. She became a core component of the U.S. Navy's forward-deployed naval forces, attached to Carrier Strike Group 5. She was no longer just a visiting asset. She was now a permanent guardian, the unbreakable shield for America's allies and interests in one of the most strategically vital regions on Earth. For years, the Antietam performed her duties flawlessly. She became a familiar and powerful presence, a symbol of stability, patrolling the South China Sea, the Sea of Japan, and the Philippine Sea. But the relentless pressure of forward deployment has a way of exacting a price. On January 31st, 2017, the unimaginable happened. While attempting to anchor in Tokyo Bay, the ship ran aground. The incident was a sailor's worst nightmare. Unpredictable high winds and a sudden, powerful tidal change had dragged her anchor. and the 9,600-ton cruiser was stuck fast on a shoal. The damage was catastrophic. An immediate survey revealed a crisis. Both massive propellers were shattered, their blades bent and mangled like scrap metal. The immense torque had warped the propeller shafts, the steel backbones of the ship's propulsion. One of the sensitive sonar domes, the ship's underwater eyes and ears, was heavily damaged. An estimated 1,100 gallons of hydraulic oil had leaked into the bay. The ship, a symbol of cutting-edge American power and precision, was crippled, helpless, just miles from her home port. For any other ship in any other location, this might have been the end of its career. The cost of repairs was staggering, eventually estimated at over $130 million. Lesser ships, or ships stationed in the continental United States, might have been patched up and towed to the reserve fleet for decommissioning, but the Antietam was the shield, and the shield could not remain broken. What followed was one of the most remarkable feats of naval engineering, international cooperation, and sheer determination in recent memory. The ship was painstakingly moved into Dry Dock 6 at the Yokosuka Naval Shipyard, a global effort, a logistical ballet of incredible complexity, was launched to source and fabricate new propellers and shafts. The ship's own crew, the very sailors who had been aboard during the incident, refused to be defeated. They worked around the clock, side by side with Japanese master shipwrights and American naval specialists. They did not just wait for their ship to be repaired. They took ownership of her resurrection. This was the Antietam's true battle. It was a fight against time, against physics, against the immense complexity of restoring a warship laden with sensitive, interconnected systems. And it was a battle she won. On September 19, 2017, less than 8 months after the disaster, a period of repair that many experts thought impossible, the USS Antietam sailed out of dry dock under her own power, fully restored and ready for duty. Her return to the fleet was more than just a repair. It was a profound statement. It proved that the ship and her crew were resilient.
Line secured and ready.
They could be knocked down,
Acknowledged.
but they
All
could
clear
not
for
be
departure.
broken. She returned to her post, seamlessly rejoining her carrier strike group, her very presence a testament to her crew's tenacity and the foundational strength of the U.S.-Japan alliance that made her rapid repair possible. The grounding did not define the Antietam. Her recovery did. She did not return to timid service. She steamed directly back into the heart of her mission. She went on to conduct multiple sensitive Taiwan Strait transits, a clear and steady presence upholding international law and reassuring regional partners. She continued to be a leader in multinational exercises like Talisman Sabre and Keen Sword, her Combat Information Center a hub of coordination and command for Allied forces. Her story became a powerful lesson at the U.S. Naval Academy and in wardrooms across the fleet, a case study not in failure, but in crisis management, damage control, and ultimate undeniable recovery. She embodied the spirit of her namesake battle, a willingness to endure immense damage and emerge, bloodied but unbroken, to hold the line and turn the tide. The story of the USS Antietam is the story of the quiet, relentless vigilance that underpins global stability. It is a monument to the idea that true strength is not just the ability to strike, but the ability to endure, to repair, and to return to the watch, no matter the cost. Her legacy is a testament to the hundreds of sailors who fought not just a potential enemy, but the sea itself to bring their ship back from the brink. They are the living steel of the unbreakable shield, the embodiment of the promise that no matter the setback, the watch will always be stood. Share this video to honor the incredible resilience of the USS Antietam and the unwavering dedication